you see what I see?
Do you see what I see?
Way up in the sky, little lamb. Do you see what I see?
Do you see what I see?
A star, dancing in the night, with a tail as big.
You're not being told the full story. We hear what we always hear. He's not leaving here alive, is he? Mr. Johnson said the accused made this comment as she knew what was going to happen. Controlling things, playing God. This is an old BBC article, but he's not leaving here alive, is he? We've heard that so many times. Liz Hull the other day repeated it. He's not leaving here alive. I'm just going to have to correct Liz Hull here. I don't like to do it because she's such a fantastic journalist, but it wasn't actually Dr. ZA. It was Dr. V or Dr. B in the trial. So the same with these quotes. One of the things I found unusual, do you want me to make you a memory box for him? You know, like I did for Baby O yesterday. I found it very inappropriate. Not what she said, just how she said it. You're not hearing the whole story. Let's take a look at what it's not Dr. ZA, it's Dr. V that Liz was actually quoting. He's not leaving here alive, is he? Now, Letby only said that whilst there were a few other members of nursing staff present, plus obviously Dr. V. So not in earshot of the parents or anything. And as we know, the baby did not leave there alive. So I don't think it was particularly shocking, but I've been told I'm not as sensitive as other people, so maybe I'm wrong. She was sort of going on about making memory boxes for them and said, do you want me to make a memory box for P the same way I did yesterday? And it was just the way she was. The parents were sitting there, and I can't remember which one would have said yes please. So it was like, you know, they were grateful for her making the memory box. Interesting. We never hear that part. Now, some of the consultants, I don't feel I want to pigeonhole them all into the JR and Steve Brewery category. You know, I'm sort of willing to forgive a couple of them, like the Indian one. What's his name? Murphy Salidi. I don't think he was too bad, and Dr. V. This Dr. V. I can sort of empathise with. I don't think she was too bad either. Now, so here's some of the testimony of Dr. V that you're not going to hear. It sounds, for most of the deaths that I'd had before child O and child P, had been deaths that we had sadly to some degree anticipated, and the discussion with the coroner or coroner's officer would inform what I thought of that death, whether that was to some degree expected, and explained or not, and decide on a post-mortem on the basis of that. So I thought we had a reasonable process to account for expected, but I think we didn't. The problem is it's unexplained and unexpected in neonates is how you define, isn't it? Unexpected is you didn't expect the child to die in the previous 24 hours by definition, which will probably apply to a lot of neonates as well. But what we expect in neonates is they become poorly and then they gradually decline and get worse over a period of time. Then they sadly die. So to some extent there are certain complications that explain that. And Delaporte says, Dr. V, I don't know if I'm Delaporte. If I could just stop you there, if you don't mind, because Dr. V was encroaching on territory that he didn't want to go. To be fair, critics might say Dr. V is not talking about indictment babies, but later we will learn that she is. I presume Dr. V is a she, just by the way the questions are answered. I could be wrong. Well, to be fair, child B that didn't die, just collapsed. They were saying Dr. V agreed child B, the deterioration was unexpected. Just to be fair. There's a lot of talk about rashes, so this was pre-Shuley conference, so they didn't actually realise that the rashes were non-consequential. So Delaporte asks again about child I. Also, was suddenly and unexpectedly deteriorating? Dr. V replies, rightly or wrongly at the time, I thought there was a reason. She goes on, I recognised that the collapses were happening, but I was putting them down to a medical reason, which, again with hindsight, was not the correct judgment. But I didn't think they were unexpected collapses. I think they were consequent to her infection. It's funny, the BBC and Liz Hull isn't reprinting that little tidbit over and over. Delaporte prompts about child C, discussions about child C, and the fact that there were no cause for the deterioration, that even after the post-mortem that was identified. Dr. V replies, so there were factors there to compromise the baby significantly. Dr. V is not playing ball. Okay. What else have I got here? So, like I say, with Dr. V, I can sort of sympathise with. I'm going to say her. She says, if I had a really bad week, or I had a run of bad weeks, people would associate that with that particular individual is heavy-footed or attracts emergency or sick people, which doesn't necessarily mean that they are the ones causing any problems. And she goes on to say, I just remember being terrified that, she's here now, what's going to happen? And just feeling that terrible things were going to start happening again, basically. I actually believe what Dr. V is saying here. I believe she had those feelings. One of the things that was going on here is, and I've heard it from other consultants as well, I think even Ravi said it, there's a Pavlovian response. So if you think about, okay, so what does that mean? Just, most people will know what that means. In 1890s, a researcher found out that when you feed some dogs and you ring the bell, the dogs will start salivating and sort of get used to the bell ringing whilst they're eating, and eventually, when this was repeated, when the researcher rung the bell, the dogs instinctively started salivating, and so there was an unconscious association with one event that is actually not associated with the other, but the brain will put the two together, and so there will be this unconscious reaction. And so don't forget, Lucy Letby actually was on shift for a lot of the deaths, and what they call in collapses. She did work there a lot. Lucy Letby herself did notice that she happened to be there a lot. It was something that she was conscious of, and I've sort of experienced it in my own workplace, where sort of working in logistics, there was this one driver, and I would sort of literally cringe every time he phoned, because I knew there was going to be something wrong with his truck, and he's broken down somewhere. And of course I can't really blame the driver. There was no motive for the driver breaking down, especially when they're going to be late home to their wife, and they're going to lose money as well, because it was somewhat commission based, and they've got a driving license. There's not my immediate thought is, oh, it's always you, it must be the way you're driving or something, and of course it's not that. It's just a run of bad luck, I would say. I mean, there could be environmental factors. I've heard one theory where Letby was more diligent in washing her hands, and of course if the taps are infected with Pseudomonas, then perhaps there was an environmental factor going on, but we will never get to the bottom of it. But I honestly believe that there was this unconscious feeling going on in these consultants, and that is why they were targeting her. Obviously wrongly. It's not the right thing to do. That is what witch burning was about, when they couldn't explain a death of something, or when something odd did go about, and they did point and say it must be because this woman is a witch. That's how a witch hunt came about, and the witch burnings came about. But as scientists, they need to be able to overcome this. And in fact, like this Dr. V is aware of this, that when asked, and the same with all the consultants, about, because none of them reported anything to the coroner or the coroner's office. I felt that the idea of reporting it to the coroner's officer and the coroner is giving them facts. So by that she means all of these other feelings are, as she's well aware, non-factual. I had no evidence and no facts as such would be of any use to the coroner. Another really, really odd thing from Dr. V. So she was involved in they're asking her about the meeting which is the thematic review with Brewery. And this is the meeting where Brewery discusses that a nurse has been on shift the whole time. Now this is interesting. So Dr. V says the meeting is from 1 to 2, and at 2 o'clock I had to go and do this. So even if not everybody has gotten up and left the room, basically she had something else to do after the meeting. My understanding is that the meeting purpose has come to an end, so I can leave now. So I didn't leave as in the middle of the meeting. My understanding from what I recall is, yeah, people have still been sitting there, but the meeting presentation bit was over. I probably had another commitment I had to go to, so I left. So she's talking about she attended this meeting with the thematic review and believes she's left on time when the meeting was finished. And it was only after that she goes on to say, sorry, so I said to him, she's talking about Steve Brewery, at the thematic review, what is coming out is that one of the things that was identified was that Letby was present on all the shifts when these babies collapsed, but that wasn't what I took away from the meeting. And he said, we discussed it after the presentation. I said, well, I don't remember that. And he said, well, it must have been after you left then. So it's sort of interesting that Brewery is almost being selective with who he's pitching this idea of a nurse always being present to. Like there's no way he would ever mention it to anyone like the coroner. And one other thing that's come out of this meeting, she talks about baby B, and here's some clinical notes. Now baby A and B are twins, and so based on the clinical notes of baby B, it's written here, phone call taken from haematology SPR is I think specialist registrar at Alderhay Children's Hospital. She has spoken to a couple of her consultants and they have recommended we send a coagulation screen and D-dimer. Also, if possible, to send these samples on child A and to ask for urgent post-mortem on twin 2, particularly to look for thrombosis, as this may have implications on child B. And as we know, the prosecution alleged air embolism, but the international panel, it was all over thrombosis. But yeah, there's some of the things that Liz Hull might not report.